Hey there, good evening. Nice to see you. It's time for the Bronx Buzz. We talk to reporters, writers, editors, journalists. You know all about that. In our second segment today, we're going to do something very special with a book that has come out featuring photography by some wonderful young Bronx photographers. But right now, let's say good evening to a reporter covering housing for Gothamist and WNYC. Ladies and gentlemen, back to the buzz is David Brand. Nice to see you, Dave.
Good to see you, Gary. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. As you can see, Dave is in front of an empty newsroom that's going to be filled very shortly. And so we want to get right to it. You wrote a piece, and I was just telling you beforehand, everybody knows about the coming of casino
yes.
licenses. And we all saw Steve Cohen of the Mets made a big proposal. What's going on? You wrote the piece. New York City rolls the dice on casino bids in 2024. What are we getting?
Oh, yeah. Well, all these billionaires and development companies and even the owner of the Mets are pushing their chips to the middle of the table here and trying to
You're
win one of
good, Dave.
those.
That's good. That's good. I like that.
Trying to win one of those coveted casino licenses. It's a high stakes affair, Gary. But yeah, so we have 11 proposals so far in and around New York City. One of them in the Bronx at Bally's Golf Links, formerly Trump Links, over there at the end of the Whitestone Bridge. So, a lot of these proposals come with some goodies, I guess, that are like for the city. And so not only would the billionaires bidding for the licenses agree to pay $500 million for the license, they also say, if you pick me, you'll get 100 new units of affordable housing. But no, if you pick me, you'll get 1,000 new units. Or if you pick me, I'll build a new park. And
New
so
park right
it's kind of
outside
like,
City Field. That's right.
yeah, a little bit of an arms race and, trying to sweeten the deal, I
Well, so
guess.
here's my first question. So the Gaming Commission said there would be three of them, right?
Yes.
Two of
Yes.
them, I think it would make sense, go to Empire Casino, and then what is that down in
Resorts World over
the
there in
Resorts
Queens.
World
Yeah.
over in Ozone Park out there in Queens near Rockaway. So I understand that. Why only three? If there's so much desire for it, it allegedly will create jobs, and you could get, as you called it, goodies. Why wouldn't we say, let's do five, let's do seven, let's really build it up?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the
But
I
the
guess
answer
at some
then,
point it's too it gets to be too saturated. You have five right now in like the span of like 30 blocks in Midtown Manhattan, including three proposals that are all like within 12 blocks of each other. So I guess if you really want to turn it into Vegas, you could just issue all of those. But yeah, there's you know, how much is too much, and to a lot of people even one is too much. But I guess there's like a question of saturation and it becomes not so fruitful to them. um but yeah, like you said, two of the bids are probably like the common wisdom. Are they going to go to those racinos, Empire City and
so
Resorts
those are not
World?
guaranteed. I mean,
Not
Empire
guaranteed.
Casino
Yeah,
right up
that's
here in Yonkers
I think the
is
feeling. Yeah, the feeling among city officials, state officials, and like industry insiders is they have a leg up because they already have slot machines and allow horse bets on horse racing there. And so the idea is that there's really one that's up for grabs. And so there's 9
wow.
locations bidding. One at the site in Nassau Coliseum, one we mentioned at Bally's Golf Links over there in the Bronx, uh, next to City Field, next to the boardwalk in Coney Island, so it's interesting. You have a casino proposal next to City Field where the Mets play, and also next to the home of the Brooklyn Cyclones down there in Coney
That's
Island.
right.
So
Yeah.
hitting the
Well,
minor league team.
maybe the most controversial ones, which you did not yet mention, are ones in Manhattan. And, if you think logically, just in terms of stepping back and looking at New York City, you've got Times Square, and if you're going to have a casino at the crossroads of the world, I mean, one would think you could do very well at that spot. It
Yeah,
would
and
be, it
it's
would be good for tourists and would bring a ton of money, taxes, and everything else.
yeah, I think uh, to a lot of people, the Times Square proposal makes sense because it's, if proposals are like, if the racinos get those bids, then Times Square is kind of located right between those, so maybe geographically makes sense.
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of people who live in that area though are
Yeah, not thrilled. Well,
singing a different tune. Yeah, and I know the
I,
community board
um,
is very
I
upset.
want to address that. Now, I raised that in the debate for the 13th City Council District, raised the notion of Bally's having it, and
Mhm.
the Democratic candidate was for it because of the jobs and everything else, and the Republican candidate who eventually won that race and is now a city council member said no, she didn't like the idea. It brings in the wrong element and all that, um, and so the Times Square thing. Now, Senator Liz Kruger, who was quoted in your article, was very clear. This is not what we want in New York City. It brings in the wrong kind of people. I mean, this goes on and on. Um, do you have a sense, any sense of what New Yorkers think about it? I'm after you answer. I'm going to tell you what I think as a sports fan.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are excited for the idea. I think a lot of people say Midtown Manhattan already has is so busy and so many activities going on that, you know, who really cares? I think a lot of people who live in the area though do uh, you know, think of that, what Kruger's perspective is, that, it's linked to an increase in crime and more people visiting the area. So yeah, I think there's divided. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't like polled that many people, but I think a lot of people are just like, yeah, whatever. Like we
You,
already
you
have.
know, I'm going to get into. I mean, you may or may not know, I'm a big baseball fan, and it blows my mind that, and I'm going to show you how old I am. When Joe Namath, right after he won that Super Bowl, he owned a bar called Bachelor's Three in Manhattan, and at that time, Commissioner Pete Rozelle said that there are gamblers making phone calls from that bar, and as a result, Joe, you've got to give up your stake
Mm,
in that bar. And if you don't, you can't play football. And he had this was a few months after winning the Super Bowl, the one time the Jets did. And he retired from football because not even that he was gambling, or his friends were gambling. It was people using the phone in his bar. Now you walk into Yankee Stadium, City Field, Barclays Center, anywhere, and everything is sponsored
yeah.
by DraftKings or other gambling sites. I don't know that this is a good trend for society. Now, I'm not. I love the jobs. Bronx people especially need jobs, and these are the kinds of jobs people can do. Uh, that's how I feel.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
we should put editorial comment there.
no, I think that a lot of people share that perspective too. And it's like, are the job numbers real, and they
Yes.
come at what cost, I guess. And so, um, I guess we're going to find that out in the coming months and coming couple of years here.
You know what's interesting also, both about the Bally's proposal on Throgs Neck and also the City Field proposal, those are on parkland.
Hmm.
And so now I understand the golf course is there, out there in the East Bronx. But is now you're going to deal? Are you going to have to alienate some of that parkland? I mean, and then of course, I mean, parking, of course, is a big thing. It's certainly a big thing around City Field. And if he's going to build a park, is he going to build garages like this? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't really.
It's like a
What,
park
what's
surrounded by
the
parking garages or something.
what's the timing of it? And well, let me ask you this first. What is the decision going to be based on? Do you have a sense from the Gaming Commission what like who's going to take the day?
So the the bids right now, the Gaming Commission is answering questions from the likely bidders before they submit their formal proposals. Those
Right.
proposals are coming this year, and then the local commissions are going to be weighing each proposal and saying yay or nay to those. If they say yay, if they approve it, it then goes to uh, a locations board under the gaming commission to then make a recommendation to the gaming commission, which has the final say. And so that's going to happen for each of these proposals. And if that local committee says no, this is not what we want, this is not what our constituents want, then it dies. But if they do forward it along for that next step, then it's up to that locations board to make the recommendation to the gaming commission.
And
So
the one thing in that chain that I didn't hear was city council member approval, and I didn't even hear that the community board has a chance to say, again, this is, the Bronx's community station. If we're not thinking about our communities, I'm not sure what we are thinking on. And so that's what it's based on. And in what happens next? Let's just say, so they pick the City Field one, or they pick Bally's, or they pick the Hudson Yards in Brooklyn, whatever it is. Then next year, are they doing another 2 or 3? I mean, is that what we?
No, I think, yeah, that's a good question. I think this is going to be a multi-year process still, because all of these bids have been like announced by the companies or individuals who are putting them forward, but they haven't actually submitted the formal applications. So the first step after this is going to be actually submitting the formal applications. And so then there's a period of time where these local committees, who are appointed by the mayor, the governor, and local elected officials, are going to consider each proposal, and they're going to talk with constituents, talk with community boards, I'm assuming, and then they will refer them up to the next stage or kill them at that point. And so
We got to run, and I know you got to run too, but I can't imagine the number of times I've sat in this seat and talked to community members and said, well, they promised us this, but we didn't get this. And I'm sure all those people in the Bronx who have said that for years are going to say, oh yeah, your promises of a park, your promises of housing, your promises of whatever else, good luck. So Dave,
unfortunately, that's often how it goes, Gary. There's no doubt about it.
You know better than anybody, probably. Anyway, David Brand, who is just a wonderful reporter for Gothamist and WNYC. Thank you. And, we'll see you around, and we're going to look for your writing on this and all the other great stuff you do.
Great. Thanks a lot, Gary.
Thanks. All right. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, Bronx kids, Bronx photographers. Don't go away.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Can you see anything different as a pill?
No.
You don't know?
Fentanyl is being mixed into everything now. There's only one thing that will save somebody's life. That is naloxone nasal spray.
Fentanyl, it's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
Why would drug dealers put a lethal dose of fentanyl in drugs if they know it's so harmful?
Really just all about the money.
I just didn't realize that one pill could change your whole life.
More kitchen now.
Most hiring algorithms would scream me out.
Some bosses couldn't see me as a leader.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
I've been running code as long as I've been able to reach a keyboard.
This is what I do. It's second nature for me, coordinating 100 details at once.
It's the way my mind works. I have a very mechanical brain.
I sold them on my skills.
You gotta be so good they can't ignore you.
My magic is
Analytics and empathy. That's how I'm getting clients. You have to have the confidence in yourself to show up and defy the odds.
I am more than who I am on paper.
I never got a college degree. And today, I'm the CEO of my own company. People want to tell me I'm one in a million, when actually I'm one of millions. Stars are all around us. It's time for them to shine.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Thanks for hearing me out, bro.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
Okay, back with you on the Bronx Buzz. I am thrilled. I and we love Bronx people, especially young Bronx people who are talented and achieving. And so we're going to welcome two of them right now. It is Fanta Diop. Nice to see you, Fanta. Welcome to the Bronx Buzz. And also Adanna Taylor. Nice to see you, Adanna. Both of them have been members of the Bronx Junior Photo League. And I'm thrilled, and I'm sure they're thrilled that there is a book, a documentary book coming out from the Bronx Documentary Center called Through Our Eyes, Youth Photography at the Bronx Documentary Center for the last 10 years. And both of these two young people are featured in it. So good evening. Nice to see you. Fanta, before we get into the book and before we get into photography, you were in the Bronx. You went into the Bronx Documentary Center and you wanted to take photos. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably my favorite story to tell ever.
Oh, great. We like that.
Oh, yeah. Love this story. I think it shows, my tenacity because my mom, traditional West African parent, very protective, only wants the best for me. I would walk past the BDC every day on my way back home from school because I went to school in Times Square at the time, but would have to commute back home every day. So I constantly see just so many people in the Bronx Doc Center. And I'm like, oh, I would love to know what they're doing in there. I want to be a part of it. And one day I think I saw Mike outside. And
this is, let me just interject. That's Michael Camber, who's the director. Okay, let's be clear.
Yeah. And I mean, he's a huge figure in the community. He says hi to everyone, knows everyone, name, face. And I think he just saw me peering through the window and he was like, oh, you should come in, hand your mom this application. We have an after school program for kids. And I was like, of course, I would love to give this to my mom. So I brought it home. She threw it out. And I was like, okay.
Mom.
Mom. I mean, if you think about it, it sounds absurd. There's a photography program in the South Bronx, and they're going to give your kids everything for free. I get why she was a bit apprehensive. And then,
she was like, oh, yeah, it's a deal.
Yeah.
Right. Too good to be true.
Exactly. And then I think I tried again, another application. She absolutely disregarded of it. And I got my little sister in on this plan. And one day we were just at home. I was like, she never lets me do anything. This is a great program, blah, blah, blah. And me and my little sister were just chatting it up. And I think
so let's move it ahead. So you went in there, you walked in yourself and just did it?
Yeah. And I mean, I had already seen Mike, interacted with him. And then finally, I don't even remember how he got to my mom, but they met. He convinced her, and the rest is
and did you ever take photographs before? Were you a photographer? Never. So they put a camera in your hand and said, go out and tell us a story.
Basically.
Oh, goodness. I love this. All right. Let's get Adanna's BJPL story, and then we'll bring it and we'll look at your photos and everything. So, Adanna, what about you? And how did you get involved? And were you taking photographs before you joined the Bronx Junior Photo League?
Yeah, I got involved because when my mom and I first moved to the U.S. in 2016.
From where do we care to say?
Jamaica.
Okay.
So we spent a lot of time in libraries and other public spaces, and we were living in Brooklyn at the time, and we went to the Brooklyn Public Library because they were having this editing workshop for Premiere Pro. And the person who was leading the workshop, I was there with my mom just because what is a kid supposed to do on a Saturday but hang out with their mom? And so I was editing alongside my mom and I was really enjoying it. And the instructor realized that I was, and she came to talk to us afterwards. And she said, I think that you would really benefit from this place that I know called the Bronx Documentary Center.
Wow. Great.
The BDC has the BJPL, but it also has other programs like BDC Films, which is the film program. So she knew someone who was a part of the BDC Films, Giacomo, and she kind of recommended it to me. And she also helped me before, about a year prior, because we were living in Brooklyn at the time. And with all the stereotypes of the Bronx and just feeling like, oh, that's so far, we didn't want to go all the way to the Bronx. So she was giving me sort of private lessons once a week, and we would meet in a coffee shop and she would teach me about ISO and aperture.
Wait, who was this teaching you this?
Hannah Jayanti.
Okay.
Yeah, she was absolutely great. And then so happened my mom and I ended up moving to the Bronx.
Ah, there you go.
And
All right. So I don't want to take too much time for this. So now, Fanta, you're at Middlebury College.
Mhm.
And what are you studying over there?
I have a double major in political science and Black studies.
My heart is beating fast. You guys are just the best. And Adanna, you're at Princeton, they said.
yes.
And what do you study?
I'm undecided. I haven't declared it yet, but I want to focus on anthropology and maybe psychology.
Sounds like you want to own the world, and I accept. I'm ready to give it to you, if I could. All right, so let's look at pictures. So the book is Through Our Eyes: Youth Photography at the Bronx Documentary Center. This is 10 years, and these are some of the contributions. Let's start with Fanta's photos, and let's take a look. Look at these. My goodness. Tell us about this picture.
This was a procession. I have very little memories of this, but as you know, living in the South Bronx, there's always something going on, and we have a very huge Latino population there. And I'm assuming this looks like, I don't know if this is Guadalupe or the Virgin Mary, but it's one of the saints, and they're having procession that we saw. And as Mike always does, he told us to grab a camera and just follow
Just
them.
go.
So
Right.
yeah.
Great. What a beautiful photo. And let's do the second one that Fanta sent us. This is, it almost looks like statues.
I mean, close, but this is actually a baby shower, which I feel like most people wouldn't
Wow.
have guessed. It's a traditional Malian baby shower where they're showering the mom with love and appreciation. My grandma actually was the one who brought me here. She is a jili, which is like a storyteller, like a really traditional spokesperson for the community. And so she was invited to this event, and I just happened
There
to, I
you
was like
go.
under the videographer's legs because it was super dark and they had a light. So
Did you do you love taking pictures? Do you still take pictures even if you're not part of the photo league? Like, is it now part of like what you do every day?
yeah, I mean, I snap a lot of photos just randomly. I think it
Well,
became
we
second
listen, we
nature.
all got our phones and we all do that, but you do it, I'm assuming now with a better eye than what you had when you started, right?
Yeah, I think my eye is always developing. I'm always seeing new things. But beyond just taking pictures, I think the BDC taught us how to tell stories, which is, I mean, the greatest skill I think I brought into college. Like
Right.
I really feel like I can follow something through, understand
Just
like
beautiful.
different parts of
Great.
um,
This is the value of it. I mean, maybe we'll, create photographers, but we're building human beings and good human beings and smart human beings and, productive. Anyway, Adanna, we're going to show a couple of yours. Producer Anderson has them all cranked up. This one makes me take a deep breath. Who is this?
This is one of my fellow classmates. Her name's Kara Starr. And I don't even remember the story behind this photo, but I think it was Halloween and I had a roll of film left and I was like, give me 10 minutes. And I went around making portraits of like as much as I could in the 10 minutes as sort of a challenge for myself.
Wow. And the beauty of it is you captured some emotions, some a personality. It's tremendous. I mean, I don't have enough positive things to say, so let's just keep going. What do we got? And this is interesting.
Yeah, this was a part of a project that I did, Love in the Hub, my junior year.
Love in the Hub.
Yeah, it's about the hub, which is the intersection between 3rd Ave and 149th and Grand Concourse, and kind of just about the love that I saw in the community. And this was a father and his son and his nephew, and they were very apprehensive at first with me taking a photo, but I was able to sort of like warm up to them and talk to them and they allowed me to.
And there's so much lesson in, I'm just thinking of the education of young people and how young people really grow. Listen, school is one thing, but here having the opportunity to talk to somebody, represent yourself, represent your artwork, have them accept it. Anderson, we got time for we'll show one more. Can we do that? Why black and white, by the way?
Black and white because Mike doesn't allow us to do anything else.
Although Fanta took some colored photos. But go ahead.
Well, yeah. This is analog. I think the photos that Fanta showed were digital, which
Okay,
we
that's
both
fine.
were in the same program.
But it creates such drama, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It
And
really.
who are these two people?
That's my mom and my aunt.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Listen, so you must be thrilled and excited about the book coming out. Tell me a little bit about what the Bronx Junior Photo League did for each of you. Fanta, we'll start with you. We've got about a minute for each of you to tell that story. So, what has it done to change you, to help you develop, to help you succeed in college? Maybe tell me all about that.
I mean, I don't even know where to begin. My mom calls the BDC our family, and I completely agree. In regards to college, I mean, they held my hand throughout the entire process. I vividly remember like Rhina, Bianca, she used to work at the BDC, was the first person to visit my college with me, took me on her own accord to visit Middlebury up in Vermont during COVID when we had to like sit in a car and just see it. Rhina and Bianca took us on our first college tours. I was a freshman in high school when they took us on these college tours. And I mean, there's so many incredible people that have just come into my life and taught me so much, like Cynthia.
And now you know how to look at them, how to visualize it and understand the world. I mean, that's what the Photo League did for you. Adanna, before we run out of time, let's give you a chance to answer the same question. How has being part of that helped you?
I think mainly having a community with people who I feel are like-minded and who will understand me and empathize with me and listen to me. I think that's sort of invaluable, especially I think as a young person growing up in the Bronx, growing up in New York City, which it's very fast-paced and it can feel very isolating. I think having that third space, which I call my second home. I've slept over there. I spend late nights there working.
Amazing. Anyway, we do got to run. We don't want to go over time here as much as we'd love to. The book again, Through Our Eyes: Youth Photography at the Bronx Documentary Center, 2013 to 2023. There are many great young photographers represented there. It's up for pre-order right now, but it will be published on January 29th of this year. Thank you. You guys, I say it all the time when we have young people on the show. You lead, I'll get right behind you. That's how we feel about our young people in the Bronx who do what you do. Fanta Diop, thank you so much. Good luck in college. And Adanna Taylor, thank you. And congratulations on both of you on all the work that you do, and good luck in everything you do. And when you do more good stuff, get back to us. We'll bring you back. Okay. Thank you. Okay, that will do it, ladies and germs, for the Bronx Buzz. And as we always say, if the creek don't rise and the curtain don't fall, we'll be back next week. And we want to thank David Brand also from WNYC and Gothamist. And we'll see you then. Good night.